Okay, so now we're going to start cutting balsa, and we're going to begin on the tail. I'm going to cut it out according to the plan. Here we have the tail fin, and according to the plan it's made of 3mm sheet balsa. Now we have of course the outline, which is this broad line here, and then we have fainter lines here that show us the direction of the grain of the balsa. These lines usually indicate balsa wood and the grain of it. So balsa wood like this has a grain running along the sheet, not across it, and balsa like this can bend along the grain, and we'll come to that again. But seeing these lines here tells us that this part is cut from a piece of balsa like this here. Now there are some other lines that we have to look at. Down here we see a balsa block. It is oriented perpendicular to the other, but we'll come to that later. We don't have to worry about it just now. This is on the side of the fin, so we don't have to cut. The cut line of the fin is not here but down here. Now there's another indication here. These dots along the top of the fin, what they are showing is that we are supposed to round the top of the fin. These dots show us this, and along the front of the fin, the front edge, the leading edge, is always rounded, so he doesn't show this. But here we might have a square, but he asks us to round to make it more beautiful. And then there are these two lines here. These are where the hinges come. Now we're going to take the fin here and the stab here and make them out of balsa. Now the easiest thing of course would be to just cut these out of the plan, stick them onto a piece of balsa wood and cut that out. But some people don't want to ruin the plans, so what do we do? Well, the easiest part, of course, easiest thing would be to get a piece of paper. This is just ordinary A4 sheet of paper. If we lay it across here, I can just about see where the fin is. I don't think it shows on the camera, but I can see that the fin is here, and I can trace over it. When it comes to the stab, the horizontal stab, this A4 sheet is just not long enough, so we might use two. Just tape them together and draw the whole stab. Another thing you can do is to get a piece of tracing paper like this. It will show everything through, and it's very easy to trace on it. So those are the easiest ways of making the templates for these parts that we need. Now I want to trace the horizontal stab, and so I tape this tracing paper down over the plan with some masking tape, and this has 3 very distinct straight lines. So here I have a ruler made of aluminium that I can lay over the plan and draw the 3 lines. This one is a double line, but I don't have to make a double line. I just do one big one. And the leading edge, like that. We have the center line, and it's a good idea to mark that and even draw it down onto the tracing paper. So we have the center line. We're not going to cut along that though. And then there are the ends. These are easily traced. We don't have to be very accurate, and we just go as close to the lines as we possibly can. We can always fix everything later. There you are. Now we have traced the horizontal stab onto the tracing paper. There you are. Now I can cut this out, tape it down onto the balsa wood and cut it. Now I want to cut this stab off this sheet of paper, but the trouble with this is that my cutting mat is just too small. So instead of a cutting mat, I use the next best thing, a piece of hardened glass. This used to be a shelf until it found its way into my workshop. So now I can put the piece of tracing paper down, and I can use my ruler to cut out the parts. Now this knife I'm using is just a cheap plastic knife with a breakaway blade, but the good thing about it is that up here is a lock. You can lock the blade in position, so this is very, very good. Now it's quite easy to cut on top of glass, and there is absolutely no way to scratch the glass with a usual hobby knife. Here's the elevator. And here is the stab itself. Notice I'm not putting any pressure on the knife. Now, something else. I'm not going to cut along these lines. I can use these lines on the balsa later on. And also here on this side, I just cut like this. And now I have the elevator, and I have the stab. So now I get my 3mm balsa wood, Here it is. And now I can use the balsa wood itself to my advantage. Notice I just run the trailing edge of the stab along the side of the balsa wood. There you are. Now I just tape it down with a little masking tape. There we are. Now, when cutting balsa, like this, you do not need any force, absolutely no force at all, especially when you're cutting along the grain. So we put the ruler here, hold it down, and then run the knife lightly along its edge. I do not put any force on the knife. It's better to do a few cuts rather than trying to do it in one go and ruining everything. That's number 4, 5. Now we're just about getting through. And there we are. This is the cut. Now we come to the ends. Again, we're going to go lightly along the edges, and just to be on the safe side, I'm going to put some masking tape here and here, and wrap it around so that it will keep the paper in place. And now I just very gently, very lightly go along the line, the pencil line on the paper. No force at all. I can now remove this paper that is in front of me, and I can also lift the template off. I don't want to get this loose yet, but I take away anything that is in my way. Notice I've got a cut line here now, and I just very gently drag my knife along this cut line. No force. Force will only destroy whatever it is you're doing. Gently does it. And again, it's better to do it many times than to ruin it. Not much far to go. Now, you see, some of it has come off yet already. So, there we are. Then we use sandpaper to fix this. Now let's do it here on the other side. Again, absolutely no force. Just gently through the paper at first, along the line that we drew. Now we can get rid of this. Just in the way. And we have the cut line. If the blade is new, if the knife is new, this will go swimmingly. There we are. Now we have the stab. There's one thing I forgot to do, but we can amend that. I forgot to put the center line on the piece of balsa. There we are. Here's the stab. Now we only need to cut out the elevators, and it's exactly the same. Here we have the first parts to our model, and it's a good idea to put them all in some kind of box to keep them while we'll cut out the rest. And here I've got a little cardboard box that I can use to put my things in, and now I know where they are.